I installed a hidden camera. I installed a hidden camera in my bedroom to catch a water leak. Instead, I caught my wife texting another man to come over while I was supposedly at work. What that camera recorded over the next 6 hours destroyed my marriage and nearly destroyed me. My name is Marcus Reid. I'm 34, and 3 months ago I thought I had everything figured out. A solid career in logistics, a house in the suburbs, and a wife I'd been with since college. Nothing dramatic, just stable. The kind of life people don't make movies about because it looks boring from the outside. Sarah worked from home as a graphic designer. I traveled for work maybe twice a month, never more than a few days. We weren't the couple posting anniversary tributes every year, but we weren't fighting either. We just existed together, and I thought that was enough. The camera wasn't some calculated spy move. Our bedroom ceiling had a water stain that kept growing, and our landlord insisted it was condensation, not a leak. I needed proof before he'd send someone to actually fix it. So I bought a basic motion-activated camera, stuck it on the bookshelf aimed at the ceiling, and forgot about it. I left for a conference in Dallas on a Wednesday morning. Sarah kissed me goodbye at the door, told me to text when I landed, normal routine. I did text. She responded with a heart emoji. Everything felt fine. The conference was the usual waste of time. Networking lunches, presentations that could have been emails, hotel coffee that tasted like regret. By Thursday afternoon, I was checking my phone every 20 minutes out of boredom, and that's when I saw the notification from the camera app. Motion detected, 2:17 p.m. I almost ignored it. Probably just Sarah walking past, but I was sitting through a supply chain optimization talk that made me want to fake a medical emergency, so I opened the app. The angle was weird because the camera was pointed up, but I could see part of our bed in the corner of the frame. Sarah was sitting on the edge, phone in hand, smiling at the screen in a way I hadn't seen in years. Not a polite smile, a real one. Then she typed something and laughed. I watched her stand up, smooth the comforter, fluff the pillows. She left the room and came back 2 minutes later wearing a different shirt, something lower cut. She checked herself in the mirror, adjusted her hair, and sat back down on the bed with her phone. My brain was trying to build innocent explanations. Maybe she had a video call with a client. Maybe she was just feeling good about herself. Maybe I was paranoid. Then the notification sound from her phone came through the camera's audio, and I heard her read the message out loud to herself. 20 minutes away. She grinned. I sat in that conference room with my phone in my lap, staring at a frozen frame of my wife waiting for someone, and I felt my stomach turn inside out. The presenter was talking about freight consolidation. People around me were taking notes. I couldn't breathe properly. I didn't leave the conference. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I didn't move, the situation wouldn't become real. Maybe I was scared of what I'd see if I kept watching. But 23 minutes later, another motion alert came through. This time, I watched. A man I'd never seen before walked into our bedroom like he'd been there 100 times. Tall, fitted t-shirt, confident in a way that made my chest tighten. Sarah stood up, and he pulled her in without hesitation. No awkward greeting, no small talk. I won't describe what happened next in detail because I'm not trying to torture myself by reliving it. But I watched enough to know this wasn't new. The way they moved around each other. The comfort. The familiarity. This had been going on for a while. I locked myself in a bathroom stall and threw up. When I came out, I looked like I'd been hit by a truck. A guy from another company asked if I was okay. I told him food poisoning. He suggested I go back to my hotel. I did. I sat on the edge of that hotel bed for 3 hours, replaying the footage, looking for clues I'd missed. How long had this been happening? Who was he? Did our friends know? Did my family know? The worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was realizing how completely blind I'd been. I started thinking about the last 6 months. Her phone habits had changed. She'd started going to the gym. New underwear I'd never seen her wear around me. Small things I'd written off as her just taking care of herself. I'd been happy she seemed happy. Turns out she was. Just not because of me. Sarah called me that night around 8. Casual. Asked how the conference was going, said she missed me, told me about some design project she was working on. Her voice sounded normal, loving even. I played along, told her the conference was fine, said I missed her too. Lied as smoothly as she was lying. When we hung up, I opened my laptop and started downloading every second. Every second of footage the camera had captured. Then I opened a new browser tab and searched for divorce attorneys in our area. Then I walked back upstairs while she stood there, confused and angry, with no idea that Patricia had sent the divorce filing to her personal account 30 minutes earlier. The email Patricia sent included a summary of grounds, a list of marital assets, and a formal notice that I was pursuing fault-based divorce citing adultery. It also included a copy of the financial records showing the hotel charges. Not the video. Patricia said we'd save that for later if needed. Sarah called me 43 times that afternoon. Then she showed up at Tom's house that evening. Michelle answered the door and told her I wasn't there, which was true. I'd gone to the gym just to avoid this exact scenario. Sarah left a note on the windshield of my car. It said, "Please, we need to talk. This is insane." What was insane was that she still thought talking would fix anything. People ask why I didn't confront her immediately, why I didn't call her out, demand answers, scream through the phone, because I needed to know the full scope before she could start controlling the narrative. I needed leverage. I needed documentation. Most importantly, I needed her to think everything was normal until I understood exactly what I was dealing with. Over the next 4 days, I became someone I didn't recognize. I stayed at that conference, shook hands, attended sessions, smiled at strangers. At night, I sat in my hotel room watching my bedroom like it was a surveillance operation. The camera captured everything on a loop. Tuesday afternoon, he came back. Wednesday morning, different time, same routine. By Thursday, I'd documented 4 separate visits. Each time, Sarah's behavior followed an identical pattern. She'd shower beforehand, change the sheets after, check her phone constantly in between. This wasn't spontaneous. This was scheduled. I started combing through our financial records. Joint checking showed nothing unusual, but I requested statements from her personal credit card, the one she used for her design business expenses. There it was. Charges at hotels 30 minutes from our house. Dinner reservations I'd never heard about. A pattern stretching back 7 months. 7 months. While I'd been working late to save for the house renovation she wanted, she'd been building an entirely separate life. Friday morning, I flew home. Sarah picked me up from the airport wearing the smile I'd fallen in love with 9 years ago. She hugged me tight, asked about the conference, said she'd missed me. I held her and felt absolutely nothing. It's strange how fast love can turn into something else when you realize it was only ever going one direction. That weekend was the hardest performance of my life. We went to dinner with her parents. I laughed at her dad's jokes, complimented her mom's cooking, held Sarah's hand across the table while her mother talked about how nice it was to see young couples still in love. Sunday night, Sarah curled up against me on the couch watching a movie, and I had to actively stop myself from pulling away. She had no idea I knew. No idea I'd been watching. No clue that while she'd been texting him goodnight every evening, I'd been screenshotting every message that came through on our phone bill. I met with an attorney that Monday. Her name was Patricia Chen, and she'd been practicing family law for 22 years. I brought printed screenshots, downloaded footage on a flash drive, credit card statements, and a timeline I'd built in a spreadsheet. Patricia watched about 30 seconds of the bedroom footage before stopping it. She looked at me with something between pity and professional detachment. "This is clear evidence of adultery," she said. "But we need to talk about how you obtained it." And that's when I learned that hidden cameras in your own bedroom exist in a legal gray area. Video without audio in a shared residence is generally permissible, but depending on the judge, it could be viewed as a violation of privacy expectations. Some courts admit it, others don't. "Even if it's my house?" I asked. "Even then," Patricia said. "It's her private space too. But here's what matters. You don't need video to prove infidelity anymore. You have hotel charges on her personal card. You have phone records showing hundreds of texts to the same number. You have a pattern of behavior. The video just confirms what the paper trail already shows." She walked me through the process. Filing, disclosure, negotiation. The likelihood that Sarah would try to claim the marriage had already been broken, that I'd been emotionally absent, that she'd felt neglected. "They always do," Patricia said. "Cheaters rewrite history to justify their choices. She'll remember every argument you ever had and forget every good moment. She'll convince herself you're the reason she strayed." I asked what happened next. Patricia leaned back. "That depends on what you want. Do you want to try to save this marriage?" I didn't even hesitate. "No." "Then we file. You'll need to decide whether you want to pursue a fault-based divorce citing adultery or go no fault for a quicker process. Fault-based can affect asset division and sometimes alimony, but it takes longer and costs more." I thought about Sarah's face in that footage, the way she'd smiled at him, the way she'd lied to me on the phone hours later. "Fault," I said. I moved out the following weekend while Sarah was at a design expo 2 hours away. I didn't leave a note, didn't take anything that wasn't clearly mine, just packed my clothes, my laptop, some books, and walked out of the house we'd bought together 3 years earlier. I stayed with my brother Tom and his wife for a few days while I found a short-term rental. Tom asked questions I wasn't ready to answer. His wife, Michelle, just made up the guest room and told me to stay as long as I needed. Sarah called me 17 times that Sunday night when she got home and found half the closet empty. I didn't answer. Monday morning, she showed up at my office. Building security called up first. "There's a Sarah Mathis here asking for you." I told them to send her away. She refused to leave. I had to go downstairs myself, walk past my coworkers, and tell my wife in the lobby of my own workplace that I had nothing to say to her. "What is happening?" she said, loud enough that people turned. "You just left? No explanation? Nothing?" I looked at her, really looked. Searched for some hint of the person I'd married, found only someone who'd become a stranger. "Check your email," I said. Nay was that she still thought talking would fix anything. The next few weeks moved like a landslide in slow motion. Sarah hired a lawyer. Her lawyer sent a letter claiming I'd abandoned the marriage and that my sudden departure constituted emotional cruelty. They tried to paint me as unstable, controlling, paranoid. They asked for documentation proving the affair. Patricia sent the hotel charges and phone records. They came back saying those proved nothing. Colleagues travel together, people text. Circumstantial at best. That's when Patricia asked if I was ready to use the video. I said yes. We didn't release it publicly. We submitted it under seal to the court as evidence supporting the adultery claim. Her lawyer received a copy through discovery. I wasn't there when Sarah's attorney showed it to her, but Patricia said the response came within hours. Suddenly, they wanted to negotiate. Sarah tried one more time to reach me directly. She sent an email. No subject line. Just a message that started with, "I don't know what you think you saw." I deleted it without finishing. Her lawyer proposed a settlement. She'd agree to the divorce. No alimony. Split assets down the middle. In exchange, I wouldn't pursue the fault claim publicly and the video would remain sealed. Patricia asked what I wanted. I thought about it for maybe 10 seconds. The goal was never to humiliate her. It was to be free. "Take it," I said. The divorce was finalized 4 months after I walked out. I signed the papers in Patricia's office on a Tuesday morning. Sarah signed hers separately. We never spoke again. I sold the house, split the proceeds, bought a smaller place closer to work, started seeing a therapist because even when you're right, even when you're the one who got cheated on, dissolving a marriage does something to you. It rewires how you see relationships, trust, and your own judgment. My therapist asked if I regretted installing the camera. Honestly, no. Without it, I'd still be second-guessing myself. I'd still be wondering if I'd imagined the distance, misread the signs, overreacted. The video didn't create the affair. It just confirmed what I already knew but couldn't prove. Do I recommend other people do the same? That's complicated. Laws vary wildly depending on where you live. What's legal in one state is a crime in another. And even when it's legal, there's a moral weight to it. You're surveilling someone you promised to trust. That says something about where the relationship already is. But here's what I learned. If you're at the point where you're seriously considering installing a hidden camera in your own home to catch your spouse cheating, the marriage is already over. You just haven't admitted it yet. Healthy relationships don't require surveillance. The moment you're gathering evidence, you've already made the decision. You're just looking for permission to act on it. Sarah married the coworker 8 months after our divorce was final. I know because a mutual friend mentioned it. I felt nothing. Not anger, not vindication, not even curiosity. Just a distant sense that she was someone else's problem now. I dated sporadically over the next year. Nothing serious. Learned I had trust issues I needed to work through before I could let anyone close again. Therapists said that was normal. Said betrayal trauma mimics PTSD. Your brain starts treating intimacy like a threat. Takes time to rewire. 2 years later, I'm in a better place. Different job. Different city. Relationship with someone who doesn't make me feel like I need to check her phone or wonder where she is. It's strange how calm feels after years of chaos. People ask if I'd do anything differently. Only one thing. I would have trusted my instincts sooner. The signs were there months before I installed that camera. I just didn't want to see them. We convince ourselves that love means giving people the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt is screaming. The camera didn't save my marriage. Nothing could have. But it saved me from years of gaslighting, from being told I was paranoid or imagining things, from doubting my own perception of reality. Sometimes proof isn't about punishment. It's about clarity. If you're reading this and wondering whether your partner is cheating, ask yourself why you're wondering. Trust your gut. It knows before your brain is ready to admit it. And if you're at the point where you're considering surveillance, ask yourself what you'll do with the answer. Because once you have proof, you can't unsee it. You have to be ready for what comes next. The truth doesn't set you free. Action does. The truth just makes the action easier to justify. That hidden camera was supposed to catch a leak. Instead, it caught the end of my marriage in 1080p clarity. Would I recommend it? Only if you're prepared for your suspicions to become evidence, and your evidence to become the reason you burn down everything you thought you knew. The strange thing about betrayal is that the moment you discover it, you realize part of you already knew. Your body had been keeping score even when your mind was making excuses. Those instincts you talked yourself out of? They were right. That paranoia you felt guilty about, it was pattern recognition. I don't tell this story for sympathy. I tell it because someone watching this right now is in the same position I was 2 years ago. They're noticing changes, making excuses, wondering if they're crazy. You're not crazy, and you already know what you need to do. The camera just makes it harder to lie to yourself. Some marriages survive infidelity. Mine didn't need to. Neither might yours. And that's not failure. That's just knowing when the foundation is too damaged to build on. Trust your gut. Document everything. And when you finally have proof, don't waste time hoping it means something different than what it clearly shows. The truth was always there. You just needed a permission to believe it.